pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons because it can accumulate.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
We've all been through something that would give us adequate justification for being a lifetime victim. Or we could say we now have adequate motivation to become a victor. I used to stutter as a kid. I grew up poor. I was sexually abused as a kid. My best friend was killed when I was in college. My wife had a late-term miscarriage. My son was born blind. My dad died from Lou Gehrig's disease. And those are not my justifications or my excuses. We could all check the victim box, or we could check the box that says victor. Today's guest grew up in a home where he was raised by an alcoholic father, and yet he became the #1 public relations consultant of all time. Today's guest grew up severely dyslexic and was called dumb, yet he became a multiple-time New York Times best-selling author. Today's guest grew up in New York, yet he moved to California, where he knew no one, and he went on to become the public relations consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for President Bush, for Michael Jackson, for Nancy Kerrigan, for Barbara Streisand, for 58 Academy Award winners, 38 Grammy Award winners, and 43 New York Times best-selling authors. And so we had the honor of having Michael Levine attend our last in-person Thrivetime show workshop. And when he spoke about why you need to decide whether you want to become a victim or a victor, I was taking notes, I was wowed by his intensity, and I was making sure that our editors were editing a few of the colorful metaphors and descriptive 4-letter words that he was saying during his presentation. And so we edited the show up so that it is now family friendly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my epic friend and my PR consultant of choice, Mr. Michael Levine.
Michael Levine, folks, let's hear it for him.
Hello. Now, let's see. I want to make sure I can move around a little bit. Can you hear me okay? How are you? Good. It's good to see you. I really do want to move around a little bit and visit with you. I've already met some of you. I have never seen a place like this in my life. It's really fun. And I have never been to Tulsa before. It's cold here. Wow. I'm from California. This is cold. Anyway, I am really thrilled to be here. Thank you, Clay.
I am excited to have Michael here. One, because we brought him to Tulsa, and he's like, Tulsa, is that a place?
Yeah. Is this guy an original or what? Will you will you applaud an original? I mean, is this guy an original? Now, before I begin, I want to ask you a question. Now, you going to be straight with me or not? You're going to tell me the truth? Because, no, I want to know you. I want you to know me. Is there anyone, I've never been to Tulsa before, and I have, certain images in my mind and all that from California. I was born in New York. And is there anyone here, and feel free to say if you are, is there anyone here that's off-put, offended, off-put by what might be referred to as rough language? Anyone here? Now, come on, tell me. Colorful language. Hush up.
I'm sorry, everybody, in advance.
No? Okay, you all right? All right. That's cool. Because if you were, that's all right, too. I used to get a bell sometimes. Instead of cursing, I'd hit the bell. But that's all right. Anyway, listen, let me start with a confession. I'm going to offer you a confession. I fell into this public speaking business by accident. I had no training of any kind, pretty much like all the other things I've done in my life. I fell into it by accident. I had no training. And so if I had gone to some kind of Dale Carnegie course, I guess I would have been told to begin today with a story. And so I will. And I figured, what kind of story can I tell my friends? Does this move out more? Is there any?
I think you might have hit the max capacity.
I hit the max?
I think you hit the maximum capacity.
If somebody...
We have a crack squad of mic extension team members. We can make it happen for you. Marshall's on it. The tallest man in the world is going to help you.
All right. So I'm going to begin with a story, and I figure, what story can I tell my friends in Tulsa? What story? And I'm going to tell you a story because I'm from Hollywood. I'm going to tell you a story about Hollywood. Okay? Now, it's a story about old Hollywood. Old Hollywood. You're too young to remember this. All right. Does anybody here old enough to know or remember the name of the literary agent Swifty Lazar? Anybody here know who Swifty Lazar? Swifty Lazar. You do? All right. Son, who's Swifty Lazar? The biggest literary agent of all time. Now, he passed away years ago, and he was real small, and he had big glasses, but he was the biggest literary agent in the history of Hollywood. And son of a... He spent 6 years of his life signing his biggest client. 6 years to sign his biggest client. Cary Grant. Now, you don't even know who Cary Grant is. Who knows who Cary Grant is? Let me tell you who Cary Grant is, darling. Cary Grant would be George Clooney times 1,000. Yes? Yes, say yes. Don't make me raise my voice. Now, Cary Grant, he signs his biggest client of all time. There's no email then. So he comes into the office, Cary Grant, in his office, signing his client 6 years, signing his contract. He signs his contract. Now, Cary Grant is getting ready to leave the office. Leave the office. And he puts his hand on the door, right, to leave, facing that way. And he says, Mr. Lazar, before I leave, I have one final question. Are you Jewish? And Swifty Lazar was reported to have said, Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I guess he wanted that contract. Anyway, as I told you, I had an odd journey to get here today. I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. Okay? I was born and raised 2.5 miles north of Ground Zero. I am one of the few living Americans that watched the World Trade Center be built twice. And I came from a bad home. I had an alcoholic parent. How many of you have ever either known someone or struggled with that kind of family situation? Raise your hand. It's not an easy deal. It's not an easy deal. You know that. Now, I had another problem. I had a disability that is better known today than it was 40 years ago. I had the disability called dyslexia. Anybody here know what that is? You know what it is? Raise your hand if you know what it is. A lot of you do. But you see, 40 years ago, it was a different deal. We had a different word for dyslexia then. 40 years ago, son, can I tell you what it was called? Dumb. Did you hear me? Okay. See, 40 years ago, we had a different word for it. It's called dumb. So, with an alcoholic parent and dyslexia, I was a lousy student. I barely graduated high school. Barely graduated high school. Now I'm 17, I'm out of the house. I got no money, I got no job, I got no education, I got no parenting. I'm scared and I'm skinny, and I got dyslexia. See, that's what's called, darling, bad cards. See? And isn't that something, friends? How your life goes is in large part how you play your cards. Isn't that something? See, some people get bad cards and play them well. Some people get good cards and play them bad. And a lot of people get medium cards and play them medium. See, if you're born on third base, you didn't hit a triple, son. See? You hear me? Don't make me raise my voice. So, now, I'm 17, I'm scared and I'm skinny. And I got no money, no job, no education, no parenting. And I got dyslexia. So, I had two passions all my life. I just talked to a 17-year-old kid here. I said, do you know what you like? He says, no, I don't know yet. That's okay. But I knew I was interested in two things. As a young person, I was interested in two things all my life. Why? I don't know. I just was. And I'll tell you how to figure out what you're interested in if you care. But I was interested in two things. I was interested in politics, and I was interested in the entertainment industry. Politics and the entertainment industry. Now, I'm scared and skinny, and I'm 17, and I'm thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I'm interested in politics. I'm interested in entertainment. And I said, you know what? You know what? I think Washington is just Hollywood for ugly folks. I'm going to LA where the pretty people are. How's that? Darling, I just look stupid. I just look stupid, see? I'm going out where the pretty people are. So I went out there and I met through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and so much of life is proximity. You did a big thing today. See, you don't even realize you did a big thing. It's called showing up. Showing up. So through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, I meet a woman who was working at Paramount Pictures. Now, at that time, in the middle 70s, there weren't a lot of women working at Paramount Pictures other than secretaries. That's interesting. Change. So I meet a woman, I say, what do you do? And she says, well, I'm a publicist. I said, that sounds cool. What's that? She says, well, I work at Paramount Pictures. I'm a publicist. I said, what do you do all day? She said, what do I do all day? I said, yes, what do you do all day? I don't know what a publicist is or does. And she says, well, what I do all day? Oh, I basically bullshit on the phone. I said, I can do that. I can do that. And I decided I wanted to be a
publicist.
because I could do that. See, I can't do much else. So off I go. Now I start a PR firm. Here's the problem. I don't know what PR is. See, that's a problem. Isn't that something? But if you're motivated, you figure it out. See? If you're motivated, now Clay tells you gotta have a break down before you have a
Breakthrough.
breakthrough. Now, why is that? And I'm gonna tell you, and if you got half a brain, you write it down. Here's why Clay's right. Write it down. Because in the end, human beings respect wisdom, but obey pain. They respect wisdom, but obey pain. Okay? Isn't that something? Why did God design the world that way? I don't know. I'm going to ask him. Right along with, why did you make celery, cheesecake fattening, and celery naan? See, I'm asking that too. All right. So, off I go. And you know, the whole deal is, I told my friend Jonathan at dinner last night, it's a 4-step ladder, isn't it? 4 steps. The first step, this is how I did. How'd you do it? So he said, how'd you get your first client? Come on. Just look, tell me how you did it. I'm buying you dinner. How'd you do it? I said, I'm going to tell you how, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, well, no, you tell me. Come on, tell me. I said, I'm going to tell you, but you're not going to like the answer. He said, all right, tell me. I said, all right, here's how I did it. You want me to tell you how I did it? Okay, I'm going to tell you how I did it. Now, you're not going to like the answer. All right, here's how I did it. Ready? Write it down. Will you write it for me? Thanks. Here's how I did it. Listen carefully, please. Somehow. See, if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. How will you do it? Somehow. See, you'll find a way. Through the front door, the back door, the side door, the chimney. Ask a mother of a sick kid how she did it. Okay? Now listen to the 4-step. See, it's 4 steps. And this is how I did it. So step 1 is called work for free. See, very few people will turn you down if you offer to work for free. See, work for free. Now, in that first step, remember, you lose, and all your Jack friends at Burger King for 10 an hour are winning. So in step 1, you lose, they win. See how it is? But if you hang in there, you go up to step 2. Now let me tell you about step 2. Step 2 is you work below market, 5 an hour, they work 10. See, in step 2, you lose, they win. See, the Burger King gang still got you beat on step 2. See? You with me? Hang in. It's going to get better. On step 3, you work for market, they work for market. It's 10-10. That's called a tie. See, you finally caught the Burger King gang. See? Now it's a tie. And what happens on step 4? They work for 10, and what happens to you? You work for 1,000, see? Takes 40 hours to make a living, 40 hours to make a fortune. Now, what's 40 plus 40? Nah, see, you didn't like that. There's got to be a shortcut. No. What's wrong with you? By the way, who taught you to look for one? Who sold you on that plan? The same Jack that told you not to carry a business card? Come on. You're too smart for that stuff. All right. So I start a PR firm. Now I get lucky and I work hard and I'm working 90 hours a week and all the rest. And because I'm not very talented, but I work hard. See? And I say yes a lot in the beginning. And so this PR firm grows to one of the 3 largest entertainment PR firms in the country. And I start representing a lot of very, very, very famous people. And I've represented Michael Jackson, and Charlton Heston, and Barbra Streisand, and David Bowie, and Prince, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Michael Fox, and Demi Moore, and Sandra Bullock, and Cameron Diaz, and George Carlin, and Joan Rivers, and Suzanne Summers, and Bill O'Reilly, and hundreds and hundreds of other big celebrities. I've given advice to 3 U.S. presidents, including one who just passed away. I've given advice to 3 U.S. presidents, both political parties. So that means I'm a hooker. See, I'm a hooker. You got it? Both parties. How's that? You didn't know I was a hooker, did you? Makes you like me better. I know. Easy. All right. So now I start to get obsessed with a question as I'm representing these big, big stars. Huge stars. I start getting obsessed with a question. And this question that obsessed me has obsessed me for 35 years. And it is really why I came today, to share the question and my answer. It obsessed me. I cannot tell you why it obsessed me, but it obsessed me. And the question was there something that these super successful people knew that we mere mortals did not know, or was their success merely luck, right place, right time? Were the Beatles just in the right place at the right time? Or was there something they knew that mere mortals like myself did not know? And if there was something, was the something transferable? Was the something transferable if there was something? Now remember, I didn't get good cards. So I was real invested in this question, because if there wasn't something and it wasn't transferable, then I'm See? Because I didn't get good cards. But if there was something, and it was transferable, then maybe I could borrow it, which is a polite word for steal it. Steal it, see? So, off I go and I start asking the question, is there something that Oprah Winfrey and Bill Clinton have in common except a lot of dough? Is there something that Michael Jordan has in common with Bill Gates, except they got a lot of dough? Is there something? And at first it didn't seem that there was. So it seems like I'm But I stuck with the question because I was obsessed by it. And I asked the question again and again and again for a long period of time. Not a week, not a month, not a year, not a few years. Over and over again for years. And you know, the funniest thing happened. After a few years, I thought I saw in the distance, in the desert of my mind, a little green, a little patch of green. Now maybe it's a mirage. Maybe I'm crazy. She thinks I'm crazy. But I stuck with it. And I came to conclude that over time, there were 3 qualities present in all super successful people, 100 times out of 100. Now listen to me carefully, please. I said super successful. Friends, if you're sitting here today, all polite, looking good, smelling good, and you're just interested in success, not super success, just success, you don't need to write down a thing. You can go to sleep for the rest of the whole deal. You don't need to write down anything because you're gonna be successful without a word. I'm telling you, you are. I give you my guarantee. Why? Why do you say, thank you, I'm going to be successful? Yes, you're going to be successful. Without a word, you don't need to write down a thing. Well, how can you tell me that, Michael? That's such good news, but how could you tell me that? Well, in large part because, what's your name, darling? Gina? Because, Gina, you were fortunate enough to be born into a civilization at exactly the moment in human history in which your competition is overwhelmingly stupid and lazy. See, Gina, you don't got to do much to be successful today except show up sober. Because your competition is
Norma.
stupid and lazy. Overwhelmingly. I'm just saying. That's good news for you. But if you say, wait, hold it. I didn't come here to come for I didn't want to fly in coach. I want to go to the first class deal. I don't want to know about the success plan. I want to know about the super success plan. Well, if that's your interest, my best counsel to you over the next few minutes is start writing. Start writing. All super successful people had 3 qualities present 100 times out of 100. Maybe you didn't hear me. All super successful people, anyone that you venerate, alive or dead, had 3 qualities present 100 times out of 100. Natural law. Number 1, and I'm going to try to do it for you in a memorable way so you can remember it. We'll call them 3 magic O's. What do you say, 3 O's? Okay, 3 O's. Here we go. 1, obsession. An obsession. They had something that I refer to as an obsession, which is analogous to a burning maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Did you hear me, or do you need me to raise my voice, darling? I said an obsession, a burning maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Yes? Now listen to me. How are you in the back? Listen to me. It wasn't ambition. Guys, think about this. Close your eyes if you choose. You all know a bunch of ambitious folks, friends of yours, that can't find their way out of a burning building. But they're ambitious. It's not ambition, it's something deeper, more primal, more intense. It's obsession, a burning, maniacal rage, as if your life depended on it. Number 2, they had an optimism, but it was the most unusual version of optimism. It was not naive, like you watch this great documentary about Mr. Rogers, what comes around goes around, and all that stuff. It wasn't that kind of optimism, friends. It was a different one. And it was an optimism. Well, first of all, how many of you understand the concept or feel you have a modest understanding of the concept of paradox? Paradox. Raise your hand if you feel like you're modest. Okay, son, what's paradox? Contradictory statement. Okay. Love is beautiful, but love is painful. Love is joyful. Love is painful. So this optimism that our super successful friends had was paradoxical. It was an optimism. Now write this down. I can't, I'll come back there if I have to. Yeah. It was an optimism created after a militant need. It was an optimism created after a militant need. Militant need could almost be like an addiction. It was an optimism born after a militant need to face the brutal facts. And here, my dear friends, were the 2 brutal facts that our super successful friends discovered when they peered into the face of destiny. 1, the game is not easy. The game is not easy. 2, the game is not fair. The game is not easy, and the game is not fair. So do me a favor. Don't waste any of your precious time on this earth complaining about that a lot. That's a bad plan. See, don't sign up for that class, darling. When somebody says to you, I don't think the game is easy, Let's complain about it. Say, I'm not signing up for that class. Don't sign up for that class. Hey, you know what, Mary? I don't think the game is fair. I know you're right, but I'm not signing up for that class. Don't. That's a bad class. You don't have time for that class. That's for the other folks. But our super successful friends came to conclude, though the game is not easy, and though the game is not fair, with enough burning maniacal rage, the game is winnable, though not easy and though not fair. The game is winnable, though not easy and though not fair. Optimism. Greatest thing ever said to, I try real hard. I've known a lot of famous people. I don't know how the that happened to me, but I did, and I try real hard. And I'm not perfect at it, but I try hard not to name drop too much in my talks, because that's cheating. But the smartest thing ever said to me on the topic of optimism was said to me by General Colin Powell in only 6 words. Now, pretty good. Profundity in 6 words. That's not bad. So he said, and I don't count my name as one of the words. See, I took that out. He said, Michael, he's a big general. He said, Michael, by the way, try to be profound in 6 words. Try it sometime. He said, Michael, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Look at me, please. Perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. So he was a military general, and what that means in English is this. If you take 10 men, or women, and you put them in a military environment, and you saturate them with optimism, those 10 men can fight with a force of 50. Those 10 can fight with the force of 50. If you take those same 10 men or women and you put them in the same environment and you saturate them with negativity, those 10 men can't fight with the force of 2. See, this is what's got me so concerned about our friends in the minority community. From the moment they take their first breath of air, they're told, you can't, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. Now, son, if you want to be broke in America, or darling, if you want to be broke in America, I can tell you how to do it. It's real easy. All you got to do is think like a victim. And I promise you, your ass will be broke in America. Son, if you want to be broke in America, all you got to do is go home and think like a victim. You'll be broke. I promise you. Don't worry about it. I promise you, 100%. If you said to me, Michael, which would you prefer, a young African-American kid or Hispanic kid? Smoke crack cocaine or inhale daily belief of victimhood? I say, can I think about it? Can I think about it for a while? I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Okay. Now, the last is the last O. So the first O is obsession. The second O is optimism. But it's an unusual, paradoxical version of optimism. Now, the third is called obligation. All super successful people had an unnatural commitment to their word, particularly to themselves. Impeccable with their word, particularly to themselves. Let me tell you something I noticed, and maybe you have too, if you think about it. Here's what super successful people didn't say. Most folks say, you know, next year I'm going to lose some weight. Next year I'm going to lose some weight. That's what most folks say. Super successful people say 12 pounds, April 17th. 12 pounds. And you know what they do? They tell folks. And they almost always write them. You see all these on the wall? That stuff is powerful, see? Because that's a pledge now. See? Everybody can see it. Isn't that something? 12 pounds, April 17th, son. See? Written. They don't say I'm going to lose some weight. Because if you say I'm going to lose some weight next year, how's that work out? Generally not as good, right? All people were impeccable with their word, particularly to themselves. They had a plan, almost always written. See, what kind of jack goes on a car trip without a map? Tell me about that. They have, and by the way, if I say to you, hey kid, what's your name? Justin. Brother Justin, you got a plan? Oh yeah, I got a plan. I said, great, Justin, that's great. How old are you, son? 37. I got ties older than you, son. Okay, now I say, Justin, you got a plan? Yeah, I got one. Great. Show it to me, son. Well, I got it in my head. Does Justin have a plan? Or does Justin have a bunch of pretty ideas floating around his adorable head? He don't have a plan. Now, he's so dumb he doesn't know it. He thinks he's got a plan. See? He don't have a plan. You got a plan that's written. Almost always shared with folks. Particularly folks who are tough on you, who will be willing, not delighted, but willing to stick their foot in your rectum if necessary. And you know, it was said to me by a black preacher once, and it was so interesting and so true. I used to host a TV show, and he said something. He says, you know, Michael, very few people in the world wouldn't be better off without a good cussing out about once a month. Isn't that something? So I called him up 10 years later. I said, Pastor, you know, you said the most interesting thing to me 10 years ago. You said, very few people in the world wouldn't be better off without a good cussing out once a month. I said, do you still believe that? He paused for a long time on the phone. He said, maybe twice. Isn't that something? Do you have friends in your life who love you enough to cuss you out once in a while? Do you? Do you? So, obligation, commitment to their word, particularly to themselves. On the rare occasion, Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the morning didn't mean Thursday at 10:15. And listen, when people who were super successful missed their goal, their commitment, who do you think the super successful folks blamed? Who? Themselves. How's that for weird? How's that? How's that for saying, no. They didn't come into a room 15 minutes later and say, oh yeah, you know, there's a lot of traffic. There's always a lot of traffic, son. What's wrong with you? Come on, you didn't leave early enough. Now, they said, no, I'm late, it's my fault. Oh, come on, don't worry about it. There's traffic. No, you didn't hear me. I don't think you heard me real well. It's my fault. It won't happen again. See, I had a teaching moment. It's not going to happen again. It's my fault. Now, how many people do you know like that? So our super successful friends had these three qualities. And with the third O, which is the obligation, with the third O comes today's only voluntary homework assignment. So you're going to get the best kind of homework assignment right now. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. And I'm going to give you some more good news. You ready? You ready for the voluntary homework assignment? Obligation, number 3O, comes with a voluntary homework assignment. It's voluntary. You don't have to do it. And more good news. If you decide to do it, you can do it in 10 minutes or less. You can do it in the next 24 hours. And you can do it for free. It's not bad. What's your name? Josiah. Listen to me. This you can do in the next 10 minutes. Oh, you can do it in the next 24 hours in 10 minutes or less for free. How's that? It's not bad. And it's voluntary. I got even better news. Listen to this. If you do it, I will give you a 100% money-back guarantee that this one homework assignment, just this one homework assignment, will change your life instantly. Radically. It's good. And permanently. Just this one thing. Listen to me. What's your name? Are you listening? Good. If you do this one homework assignment, change your life. I'm going to give you a guarantee. 100%. You cannot lose instantly, radically, and permanently. You ready? Okay, here's what you got to do. You got to make a commitment in the next 24 hours to go home and fire your flaky friends. You got to go home in the next 24 hours and fire your flaky friends. Why is that? Why? Because nothing will interfere with your capacity to reach your fullest and highest potential like the secondhand fumes of flakiness. Did you hear me? Do you need me to say it again? Are you sure? Nothing will interfere with your capacity to reach your fullest and highest potential like the secondhand fumes of flakiness. That's it, guys. 3 O's. 3 O's. And I believe that later today, I'm not sure how Clay has set this up exactly, but I believe that later today, I will be gifted with the opportunity of hearing and discussing some of your questions, comments, suggestions, and alternative speeches. Particularly interested in hearing from people who have some kind of silent urge inside them to come up to me and punch me in the nose. But we have, I believe, about 10 minutes left. And in that time, I'd love to just see if we could do a couple of questions, comments, suggestions, and alternative speeches. Now, I do want to tell you one last thing. You know, writing a book, very few people in the world, many people want to write a book, very few do. But it's the most unusual experience in so many ways, but here's one way. Writing a book is like putting and ask anybody who's ever written one if this is true, and I think they'll agree. I think Clay will agree and others. Writing a book is like putting a message in a bottle and throwing it out to sea. And you're never quite sure who's going to see it, if it's going to be seen. It's an odd thing. It's a very unusual thing. And so I come to Tulsa, and I meet you. Some of you I meet personally, some I just meet in a group. But you know, I leave tomorrow, right? And it's an interesting thing. In a strange kind of way, I take you with me, don't I? Isn't that something? I take you with me in a strange kind of way, right? And I guess you, in a strange kind of way, particularly maybe if you took some notes, you take me with you. Isn't that interesting? And last night, you didn't even know who I was, and I didn't know who you were, and there was nothing on a book, and all the rest. Isn't that wacky? Kind of wacky thing, isn't it? And, you know, we meet again. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we will. But isn't that, and we certainly in today's world can stay in touch via email or phone call or any you understand how that can be today, but I take you with me, and you take me with you. That's interesting. Kind of wacky thing. Never expected it. So, let's do this. We have about 7 minutes left, and I'm going to try this out. See if you like this. We're going to do men versus women. Hold on, darling. Men versus women. So, the women get to ask the first question or comment. Now, you don't have to do a question. It can be a comment. You can either choose a question or a comment. We're going to go with women first, and then we're going to go to the guys, if they've got the guts, which I doubt they do, but they might. So, you see how it is? So, women first. Who has got a question or a comment? Question or comment? Young lady, would you please stand up and tell me your first name? Angela? Sister Angela, go. I can't come, I want to, but I can't reach you. But what's your question or comment? First, is it question or comment? A question from Sister Angela. Go. Can I give you an example? By the way, yes, I can. But hold on. Yeah, will I? Yes, I will. But just raise your hand if any of you can think of how flakiness has cut off your potential in your life? Raise your hand. We can all give examples of some kind or another. Look, Angela, you got to make a decision on how you're going to live your life. You only get 168 hours a week, darling, and you get the same 168 that Oprah gets, and Barack Obama gets, and Bill Clinton gets, and Michael Jordan gets. You get the same 168 hours. Now, one of the problems with flakiness is really fucking expensive from a time point of view, isn't it? Chasing people around, trying to keep people. You like herding cats, darling? You got better things to do than herd cats? If you want to make your time count, do you think herding cats is a good way to spend it? Probably not. If you got a best friend or a good friend that you can't count on, you got to write 94 times to make sure they're going to show up. Is that a good use of your time, darling? And let me tell you something. This is important. Write it down. Every person in the super successful category had, write it down, God, a reverence for time. I'm going to tell you a secret, Angela, about me. You're going to think this is weird, dear. Ready? Listen to this. You're going to think this is weird, probably. But in my house, yes, in my house, I have a clock, a large clock, in every room. Wacky kind of thing, yeah? Now, you want to go crazier, Angela? Crazier? I've got a timer in every room. That's something? A clock and a timer. A clock and a timer in every room. Oh, come on, Michael. No, you don't. Yeah, I do, really. That's crazy. In your bathroom? Yeah. Why is that? Because I have a reverence for time. Do you? Do you? Do you? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. By the way, if, darling, you yearn to be broke and tired, right? If you think that's a cool plan, being broke and tired, then you don't need a reverence for time. See? But if you say, no, I think I'm tired. I'm done with being broke and tired. I tried that plan. Get a reverence for time. Okay, so now the women have gone. It's 1-0. Men, question or comment? Yes, friend. What is your name? My name's Paul. Brother Paul. How are you? Is it a question? Question? Okay, so see how it is? It's question, women, men. All right, go.
So my question to you is what I've found is that the super successful people, it's really not about money. It's about accomplishments, about giving back, about sharing wealth. What's your experience with the people you've worked with respect to how they view money?
The question, can everybody hear that? How do super successful people view money? I think that super successful people, I've observed that super successful people understand that money is a currency or gasoline, right, that helps drive the car, the engine of many things. Having a car without gas is probably not ideal. I'm just saying. Having a car without gas is probably not ideal. I think I'm going to leave it right there. It's a currency. It's not the only currency, but it's a currency. You need a certain amount. By the way, you need a dedication to reality at all costs. You need a reverence for time, and you need a dedication to reality at all costs. Now, I want to do something with you, if I may, in closing, because I've really got to stop now. And we'll do it at a tie. Men, one. And then later, you know how tough the ladies are in this late game, right? So you know how that goes. Okay, but listen to me. I want to try a little game with you for just a second to see how it works. I've never met you before. Let's try it out. I want you, please, to think, if you would be kind enough, of two people in your life. Two people who are good folks, nice folks, handsome, pleasant, attractive people. But for whatever reason, these two folks, and you can go any way you want with this, gay, straight, black, white, young, old, it doesn't matter. Just pick out two that you know. And the two are good folks, they're nice folks, they're pleasant folks, but for whatever reason, these two folks are underachieving based on their potential. They're underachieving, right? They have a certain potential in life, and they're hitting about the 70% mark. Now they're not in jail. They're not on the Springer show, but they're just not, they could do so, they just, right? Now, let's close your eyes for a minute. Think of the two. Think of the two. Get them in your head. Could be related to them, could be friends, could be coworkers. Now, get them in your head. Okay, cool, you got them. I've never met them. I don't know who you're talking about. I've never met them. I want to tell you 4 things about these two folks and see how I do. Let's see how I do, okay? I'm going to tell you 4 things about these two folks. Let's see how I do. Number 1, they have a f***ed up relationship with reality. They have their own narrative about, oh no, that didn't happen, this happened. Oh no, it wasn't my fault, it was... They have a f***ed up relationship with reality. Number 2, they have a f***ed up relationship with responsibility. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else. It's men, it's sexism, it's whites, it's Hollywood, it's America, it's the big one? What's the big one? It's my parents. That's the biggest. My husband, my parents, my this, my kid. They have a up relationship with responsibility. Number 3, they have a up relationship with time. They're always late. They're always running behind the 8 ball. They're always jammed. How have you been, Harry? Oh, I've been jammed. I'm going. It's been nuts. I've been swamped. They always sound like their hair's on fire. Number 4, they have a relationship with communication. You call them, they never pick up their phone. They can't seem to return a phone call. Their ringer didn't work. Their battery's dead. I didn't. I meant to call you, but you understand. I've been jammed. I've been swamped. Things have been getting crazy here. I know I meant to do it, but They got a up relationship with reality, responsibility, time, and communication. How'd I do? Does that sound like a couple of your friends? Yes? Raise your hand if it sounds like a couple of your friends. Ain't that a... Anyway, it's so, Clay, thank you so much. Now, if you tell anybody that, now we got together today, and this is nice. Now, don't you tell people I swore like this. Now, that's not cool. I was a fine person, and I didn't swear at all. He didn't. No.
Michael, on Monday we're going to release the podcast version of the show after some editing. So you have now taken my Sunday from me. I'll be doing some editing. The clean version will be out on Monday on the podcast.
Clay is a very original guy, very unusual. You're privileged to know him in ways that you don't fully understand yet, but life will teach you over time. If you get out of your own way, over time,
earmuffs.
Life will instruct you over time about how valuable some of the things that he is attempting in an evangelical way. An evangelical is a bringer, not a religious thing, a bringer of the good news. The good news is all the stuff that, we've been talking about. So, anyway, what an honor to be here with you. Thank you for the chance. Thank you, Clay. Thank you, Thrive. What a great team, They're really exceptional. Thank you so much.
Let's hear for Michael Levine. All right. Now, the rest of the show will be PG.
Thrive Nation, that right there is the mindset that it takes to become successful. If you want to become successful, I would encourage you to listen to that podcast over and over again until it becomes your new normal. When we run around this life making a bunch of excuses that we believe, we will get the sympathy of other people. And we will get the victim card and the poverty to go with it. If you want to be a victim, if you want to be offended, if you want to tell people that you just didn't have what it took to be successful, then you are right. But if you want to succeed, you have to believe that you have the tools you need until it becomes your new normal. You just have to understand the level of intensity you have to bring on a daily basis to succeed. And once you finally do get that mindset and you embrace that work ethic, you will have massive success because everybody else is going in the slow lane. But you, my friend, are going in the passing lane when you bring that kind of energy, drive, and passion to the workplace. And now, without any further ado, we like to end each and every show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Thrive Nation, every single day somebody reaches out to me, literally every single day somebody reaches out to me and they say, I'm in an industry that's saturated. I'm a mortgage provider. I'm an insurance provider. I'm a car salesman. I'm a dentist. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. And they say, how do I stand out in this cluttered world of commerce? How can I reach my ideal and likely buyers? And on today's show, we're interviewing a longtime client that's having a remarkable success very quickly. And he provides insurance to anybody watching today's show. He provides insurance to people all over across this great nation. He's a great friend of the program. Brett, welcome onto the Thrivetime show. How are you, sir?
Good, Clay. Thanks for having me.
So, Brett, let's start off with the controversial stuff. First off, what's your last name? How do we properly pronounce your last name?
Meal, like Happy Meal.
Okay, and your website, I want to prove that you're not a hologram. The website is leisureinsurancegroup.com, leisureinsurancegroup.com. For the people watching today's show, what kind of listeners can you help? What states, what kind of products, who can you help?
Yeah, we're mainly focused in Oklahoma and Texas. We have some clients right now in Colorado, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, but mainly Oklahoma and Texas is where we're focused right now.
So how did you first hear about me? What poor choices did you make that caused you to end up in my office?
I have a friend of a friend that said, hey, you need to meet my friend Clay. And it's been history ever since. And I think he's a friend of the show. His name's Steve Currington.
Now, working with you, so many people, when they think about business growth, they think, oh, we're going to have walk on hot coals, take hours and hours talking about our vision. And really, that's not what I do at all. My goal is to help you grow your business so you and your wife can pursue the vision that you believe God's given you and your wife. I try to keep our meetings to the point, pragmatic, so I'm not wasting your time. Can you talk about the non-length of our meetings? Because I think a lot of times people think when they hire a business coach who's helping them grow, they're going to be stuck in massive long meetings. Talk about kind of the overall flow or the focus of our meetings.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, how the week before went, which is great because it's all about accountability. So if I've hit all my or markers for the week or metrics for the week, sometimes that meeting's a 10 to 15 minute, hey, good job, keep doing it, you're doing great. Sometimes we got to dive a little deeper, and sometimes those meetings go 30 minutes, but the most it's ever taken is 45, I think. And we were kind of dealing with some website issues. So, average time is 20 to 30 and really productive, and highly accountable.
Now, your growth has been outstanding. I don't want to exaggerate the result. I just was looking at the tracking sheet today, and I don't want to give a wrong number or wrong percentage, but I mean, have you grown double the size you were before you met us? Have you grown 10 times, 1 time, 33 times? How much larger are you now than when you first started with us?
Well, the prior company I was with before was a captive group, and in my first 6 months in the brokerage and working with you, I had already sold more in the 6 months than I did in my 2.5 to 3 years with the other company.
And just to be clear, when you say captive company, what that means is you're selling insurance for one particular brand. And so you're pitching a specific brand. And now you're free. If people go to Leisure Insurance, if they go to your website right now, if anybody goes to your website, that's leisureinsurancegroup.com, you can now sell a variety of products. Am I getting that correct, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a contract with, several different AM best rated carriers that we find the best rate with the best coverage on the market. And when you with a captive agent, they have one carrier and that they can shop with. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not so good because you can't control rate.
Now you're saying more product now in a month than maybe you used to sell in a year. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So actually last month was July. And ever since I've been in this industry, 4 to 5 years now, we've always known July is to be our worst and lowest month we've ever had. And that's the mindset everyone has. And since working with you, my mindset obviously has changed a lot about what's possible, what we can do. And July, which was last month, was the largest month I've ever had on record by triple. So I tripled last July's production. And it was just a real testament to just stay with the process, keep going. And I just had the biggest month in what is traditionally our lowest month.
Now, this is big. Whenever you take the sun, for anybody out there who wants to talk about the sun and magnifying glasses, and someone says, I like this. Are we going to talk about burning ants? What you do is you take the sun's rays and you harness them via the magnifying glass, and you focus that magnifying glass on a given area. And if you do it, you can cause something to burn. You can cause a fire. Now, if you don't focus on core tasks until success, you will never create enough heat or enough energy to actually start a fire. And I believe that's a big part of growing a business. And so every single week, and again, there's 14 steps to growing a business. I'm just focusing on one of them during today's testimonial video or success story video. Every week, I talk about VISM, video reviews, images, search engine content, more reviews. That represents the entire marketing plan. Video reviews, images, search engine content, more reviews. Can you talk about just maybe the maddening nature of having somebody that literally obsesses on the same thing every week? I mean, I know it produces fruit, but also knowing that it's a simple plan that actually works.
Yeah, I mean, just today, I think we spent about 5 minutes of our meeting talking about VISM, and today's main thing was Google reviews. Get more Google reviews. Get more Google reviews. And I'm a believer because there's proof in the pudding. And so whenever you say it, I just know, hey, you're applying pressure to this because we're onto something and we're on a heater and we need to keep going. And so I just trust the process and get more Google reviews. I think we got 10 today. So.
Now, your business, again, I just want to be very clear because you're saying you're now selling 3 times more this July than you sold last July. Am I getting that right, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you're selling more in what, a month than you used to sell in a half a year, or what's a better way to articulate that? I'm just trying to, because again,
Yeah.
people listen to this show, they're listening because they want to have real results. How would you best describe the results you've had?
Gosh. I mean, what I used to do with our old company in 1 month, I do in a week on average.
So you're now closing 4 times more deals than you used to close.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. Okay, so now this is the system. I'm giving people the system. Someone says, "What's the secret system?" A lot of these ridiculous business coaching programs, they have this system where you pay $1,700 this month, and the next month we'll teach you the secret. We just charge a flat rate of $1,700 per month. Someone says, "What? 1,700?" That's a 20% margin. Thus, I make $340 a month per client. It's really a simple system. I've been doing this since 2005. So we talked about this system. I'm going to go through these 14 points. Box number 1, with every client, we sit down, we figure out your revenue goals. What are your yearly goals? What are your weekly goals? We do that. Okay. Second, what's your break-even number? Can you talk about the importance of knowing your numbers now? I mean, really knowing how much you have to sell just to break even?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to have a target to hit. You can't just go in and hope and wish and dial without having a target. And so you've been really good about saying, okay, I remember that first meeting because it was like, here's what I think we should do or could do. And we've exceeded that. And we've, over the last year, really just incrementally added more numbers. We've upped the numbers. Okay, cool. You got 20 this week. How about 50? Okay, you made X amount of calls. How about 50 more this week? And so we just consistently up those numbers. And so we are not just hitting the goal, because once we've hit it, you always push me to go further and get and reach for more. And so that's been incredible to see.
Now, next, I want to really, really hammer this, folks. Box 3. Define the number of hours per week you want to work. I'm not advocating for men to get divorced. I am somebody who does read the book of Genesis and Exodus, and I do believe in the concept of a 6-day work week and the Sabbath rest on the 7th. However, I have clients that work 4 days a week. I have clients that literally, I have one guy I talked to today. I won't mention his name. He jokes. His goal is to figure out how many minutes per week he can work. He literally is to a point where he's trying to work less than an hour a week. And he spends that hour just following up on certain things. And so everyone's got their own goals, but how important is it to know the time blocking, like block out time in your schedule, especially as a father and a married guy?
Yeah, it's incredibly important. And, I sat down with my wife when we started this new venture, said, hey, I'm getting challenged a lot. And, for us to get where we need to go, I need to go in on Saturdays. So I work Monday to Saturday. And you've been really good about helping me figure out what's important to focus on and time blocking it. It's really good working with you because I can see your actual calendar and how to stay accountable to things and to actually finish it. It's also encouraging because I see your calendar and realize how light my calendar is. So there's never an excuse to not get anything done. So
yeah, it's, you know what? And the time blocking is such a big thing for anybody out there. Time blocking. You got to block out time. Box number 4, unique value proposition. At Leisure Insurance, I would argue you guys are allowing people to find the best rates possible. The best plan, the best rates, the best policy. People could call it the 3 Ps. I tell non-captive insurance agents I work with, I talk about the 3 Ps a lot. When they ask me, they say, what can I do to make my brand different? I say, focus on the 3 Ps. They say, what are the 3 Ps? I say, best price, best product, easiest person to work with. Best product, best price, easiest person to work with. How has it helped you knowing that you got a website that represents you? Because we do include the photography, the video, the web, the search engine, the branding, the online ads, all of that's included. How much has that helped you go out there as an individual, knowing that you have a website that represents those 3 Ps behind the scenes?
Yeah, as a business owner and someone that's just driving the business, I don't have to focus on it. That's a huge load and mental load and even just skill set I don't have to think about it. And, to know that you guys are consistently updating that and putting that out there. So it's just one thing off my plate and I can focus on what's really important.
Now we're moving through these boxes again, folks. I've written a book. You can download it for free. I've written 30 plus books, but you can download this book for free. It's called A Millionaire's Guide. You can download it for free at thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. You can download the book for free, thrivetimeshow.com/millionaire. Box number 5, branding. People do judge you based upon the first impression, website, print piece, logo, branding. Box number 6, we talked about it. That's the marketing strategy for you, in particular, VISM. You've got to have a 3-legged marketing stool, a sturdy stool of at least 3 ways that you market in a sustainable way. I do not ask you to do things on a weekly basis that are not scalable. I focus on repetitive systems that work. Can you just give the listeners out there an example? How much are your Google leads up this time, this month versus, let's say, 6 months ago?
Oh my gosh. 10x. I mean, legit 10x.
Yeah. So how has that impacted you having your Google leads go up by 10x?
I mean, yeah, and my phone rings nonstop, and which people are wanting to buy or interested in buying your product, so they're automatically a prospect. And so it's been awesome. I don't, the marketing leg of just having leads come to you is such a load lifted off my shoulders.
Now we look at box number 7, having a sales conversion system. You do a great job with this, but you have sales scripts, recorded calls, print materials that make sense, pre-written emails. You got it in place. Box number 8, figuring out how much profit you actually make. You do a great job. You got to measure what you treasure. Tracking is a big part of success. You do a great job of that. Cumulatively, I think we all do a great job of that on your account, keeping track of the numbers that matter. Box number 9, you got to be organized to build an organization. This just in. You've got to be organized to build an organization. You got to create repeatable systems if you want to scale a company. You got to be organized to build an organization. Can you talk about that a little bit, having a team behind the scenes that knows where to find files and organizes your business cards and print pieces in a way where you can actually find your passwords?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a sheet that is the agenda sheet that's got, everything you can think of. It's got last year's lead tracker. It's got last year's sales report. It's got the password sheet. It's got the contracts. It's got scripts. It's got everything you think of. So if you lose something or can't find it, you know where to find it. It's on the agenda.
That is the move. And again, folks, this is what a scalable business looks like here. We're around in the corner here. We move on to the next system. It's so important. Box number 8. What? Box number 8. Again, you've got to know your customer acquisition costs. What does it take? What does it cost you to get a new customer? Box 9. You've got to you have to create repeatable systems, processes, and file organization. Box number 10, you got to manage people as you grow. Once you nail it, you got to scale it. And eventually you have to manage people. We do talk about that a lot in our business coaching. For sake of time today, we won't get into that a lot, but you've got to find a way to hold people accountable. Carrot and stick, merit-based pay. Box number 11, you've got to create a sustainable weekly schedule. That's a financial tip and a marriage tip. If you want to keep at least 51% of your net worth, don't get divorced, okay? So you've got to create a repetitive weekly schedule. Box number 12, you got to hire great people. You got to hire people. This just in, folks. You got to hire great people that you can train and retain, people that are already inspired to do what is required, and we teach how to do that. And then box 13, you got to make sure you have money left in the account. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Again, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. So you got to look at the accounting. And then box 14, you say, what's the point of success? And I think that's where we're kind of getting with you right now. It's like, what is the point? When you're to a point now where you're looking at your calendar, you look at your week, your recurring business, your recurring your recurring billing, your insurance, where people go ahead and re-up their policy, they continue their policy. You have residual income coming in. You've got referrals flying in. People are now recommending you. You're starting to get to a place of financial abundance, prosperity. Then you can sit back and say, man, what's the point of this? And that's where we talk about our goals for our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, friendship, fun. I'm going to let you kind of put a ribbon on the box here, or a bow on the present here. What would you say to anybody out there who's watching this that maybe is on the fence about scheduling a free 13-point assessment with myself and or attending one of our interactive 2-day business workshops?
Yeah, if you care about your business, invest in it. And, it's totally worth showing up and at least listening. And if you can stay coachable and stay humble, I promise you it'll work, because it worked for me. And I just know that there's proof in the pudding. Someone from Google.
Who's not a good fit? Who's somebody you say, hey, bro, seriously, bro, they only take on 160 clients, bro, save yourself the time. Don't fill out the form who should not be going to thrivetimeshow.com to schedule a free consultation?
If you think you know how to do it already and you're just stuck in your ways and you're not going to work hard, that's who.
Okay. And then final question I have here for you. How has the one-on-one business coaching impacted your life?
Oh, it's been huge. The accountability is probably the bigger thing. Sitting in a room with you and some other business leaders, knowing that they've walked the same road I have, maybe not the exact same road, but they've been in my shoes, and there's just such encouragement. I always leave my meetings encouraged, believed in, and challenged. And so that's huge, because I want to grow and I want to go to whatever's next for me and take my family there.
You know, folks, another way you can challenge yourself is to try driving your car with 3 wheels. That's a way to challenge yourself. Just rip off one of the tires, drive around with 3 wheels. That's something you could do. Another way you could challenge yourself is you could try to figure out the Rubik's Cube today. You could look at it, you try to figure out how to get it to work. You could go to the mall and stare at one of those paintings or posters where if you look at it long enough, you could eventually see something else. Those are ways you could challenge yourself, but I would recommend you challenge yourself to create time freedom and financial freedom. And also, if you're looking for insurance, and I know you are, I would encourage you to go to the website. I'm going to pull up the website one more time. That website you can go to is leisureinsurancegroup.com, leisureinsurancegroup.com. If you're in Oklahoma and or Texas, leisureinsurancegroup.com. You can go there to compare rates. Brett, thank you so much for your time today, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Clay.
Bye-bye. JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out, because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have had the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And so it says Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there, too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much. And thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa.